Ted Williams, former D.C. police detective, defense attorney, and a Fox News contributor. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. I want to show you these pictures from the Daily Mail showing the crime scene. We can pull them up on our screen here so people can take a look. What's your takeaway when you look at this? It looks like a pretty typical scene for college students, but does the clutter, the disorganization, does that make it harder or easier to find evidence?
Well, Jack, it makes it more difficult for law enforcement, but you're right, it is a typical college room. They're shared by, at least now we know, 6 students. But when we look at this complete scenario here of what is taking place, it is, we get more from the family about what is taking place than we are getting from law enforcement. But when you look at the inside or the interior of that home, where you have really 3 stories, and the killer's killing took place on the 2nd floor and on the 3rd floor, it leads me to believe that it was someone who had some knowledge of that home. And if you are on the 1st floor, the only way you can get into this home is through the front door. If you're on the 2nd floor, where or at least 2 of the individuals were killed, you can get in through the back door, which is a sliding glass door. But whoever killed these 4 students certainly would have been covered in blood. And I would hope that what the authorities would do is put out more information that the public can use other than just this targeting, because this targeting has been very contradictory. At one stage, they said that the students or the house was not targeted. If those were not the targets, then what was or who was the target? And so you've got a frustrated community out there that have not been given enough information.
Yeah. Ted, in one of those pictures that we saw, there's a computer monitor that is still on. It's displaying an error message. But then in some of the other pictures, there's not very much that looks like it's been knocked over or ransacked. Does that, in your mind, help to rule out any motives?
Well, I don't think they can rule out anything at this stage, Jackie. I'm sure that law enforcement has taken a look at that computer. They've looked around each and every one of these rooms. As you know, this was and is a crime scene. And up until yesterday, the automobiles in front of this crime scene was left in place, frozen in time.
Yeah.
So they have done, meaning law enforcement, a deep scrub of those street theories to try to determine who is or was the killer. And so what they're now doing is through forensics. They are going back. They're looking at the test of the forensics. They know that this was at one time a party house. So they're now trying to do a process of elimination to try to find the killer. They're trying to also talk to anybody who knew any of these 4 students to find out if there were any beefs that anybody would have had against any one of these 4 students that would have led to this kind of a murder.
You know, we learned from one of the victim's fathers, notably not from the police, that his daughter died in the same bed as her best friend. So one question investigators have now is, how was a killer able to overtake 2 victims at the same time? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the things is it could have been what was their state, meaning that Madison and Kaylee, because they were both found on the 3rd floor in a bedroom together. But we do know that there was some defensive wounds about some of these individuals' bodies. So that meant that there could very well have been someone who fought. The medical examiner said that she believes that they were asleep when they were initially attacked. But during the course of the attack, somebody or somebody's fought. And as a result of that, there may very well be some DNA evidence that will help the authorities to bring the killer or killers to justice.
Yeah, you would think maybe that it would cause someone to wonder if there were multiple suspects involved to overtake two people at the same time, or one after another right in the same bed. All right, Ted Williams, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.